glass. Well, the gentleman that made that stained glass has his contractor take it out, and then there was a crack in it. He's going to repair that, and then we're going to put that into a new door, so we'll have a whole new entry system there. So that'll look good. That door's been in there for quite some time and it's pretty bad shape. So the new door will look pretty much the same. It'll operate a lot better than that one. Also, Greg mentioned the new pontoon storage area. Maintenance spent quite a bit of time over there fixing that area up with gravel. It looks pretty nice what they did over there. If you noticed it drive by. I think Sue was pretty happy with that too from the Lakes Committee. Of course, Chaz mentioned the storage building down at Security for Packages. If anyone was in there right before Christmas last year in the guard shack, them guys could hardly get around. So this is going to be a temporary building. We got it as a rent to own for the season, and we'll keep it as long as we need to. And then it can go back, or if we decide to keep it, we can use it elsewhere. But that was something we wanted to get done before the start of the crazy season of Christmas packages. Fall cleanup ends tomorrow. You probably noticed on the weekend that place was a mess down there. It always is over the weekend. And so that ends tomorrow. And this is a good thing that we started here several years ago for not only the spring cleanup, but the fall cleanup, and to help members out, get rid of some of the trash they have. And with that, unless somebody has any questions, that's all I have, sir.
Questions for Randy? Okay. Moving on to committee reports, you got them. There was only two, but a combination of two things. One is we got to keep reminding the chairs to turn it in. And the second thing is committees are winding down. But even if they haven't, I'd rather see no report. We didn't meet than nothing. So please try to remember to contact your committees about a week before the board meeting and ask them to send in the report.
I have something for our committee. I just thought we did it during the...
Oh yeah, we'll go all the way around. Everybody will get a chance. I know what's going on. Steve called me earlier today.
Is there like a form, like a standard?
No,
just send anything in?
Anything, and short. That's the key thing. We don't want pages and pages. Just a short report, just to tell us what's going on, what's coming up, that they did meet, and what they're into. It's what I go for. At this point, I would like to ask for approval of Roy Smoot as the chair of Adopt an Area. Roy was going to be here today, but he got called out of town with a family situation. Roy has been a member since 2001, full-time since 2014. Recently retired from PNC Bank, retired early. The guy's young, in his 50s. Good planning, and he was in wealth management for PNC, so apparently it pays off. Okay, we didn't got glad he's not here. He is, in addition to being wealth manager, is director of a nonprofit, and I will say the nonprofit was his wife's nonprofit. Those of you who remember Judy Smoot, who recently passed away, she had a nonprofit going on counseling other people, and he was a part of that. He's a runner. He looks it, and he runs all over the place. He got his interest in gardening from Judy, who was an artist, and she loved gardening. And how it happened is that Dwayne Williams gave us I don't know what the value was, well over $100 worth of mums to plant. And because the boys are gone, we're trying to find somebody to do it. So I got corralled by Jan to dig, and she got Roy out there, and we planted the mums at the front gate and then on the side garden. And while we're doing it, I asked Roy, it turns out he still knows a lot about flowers. I said, hey, I need somebody. And he said, fine. And he is now, he's met with some of the people who were doing it before to get a background. He's not sure that he can handle it, all of it as they were doing it, especially like Mora Hill, but he's going to look at that and go forward. So I would ask somebody to make a motion to approve Roy Smoot as the chair of Adopt an Area.
So moved.
By Tom Matthews,
Second.
by Fritz Freiser. Any questions, comments?
Just like to, I hope that he's able to work with, reach out to Pat Lynch. Pat's told me that he's got, can get us just great deals on wholesale and so forth, and that's some great ideas. I hope he can reach out to him.
It's a good comment. Yes, they do have one wholesaler they do work with already, but that doesn't mean they can't go with Pat. But also, Pat is part of the process. Pat is drawing up plans for the front of the lodge. The front of the lodge is overgrown totally, and also plans for trees to hide the dumpster across the way. And those will both be amenities requests going in. So thank you, sir. You're right on track. We're working with Pat. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we have a chair. With that, I'm going to ask Jim Krieger to give us an update on the Raise the Deck.
I'll be happy to do that. Hopefully you all received an email from me last week, which showed the plans or the proposed plans that we're working on. That part of the process is going extremely well. I have some drawings here that I can send around, which shows the most recent rendering. As you could, if you read in the email, we've been working in terms of making sure that this is a commercial deck and substantial and be able to handle any sort of proposed load of people that we have at any time, and we're doing really well on that. We have a structural engineer who will ultimately sign and stamp the plans. He's very pleased with where we're at. There's just a few things you'll have to do when we get to the final piece of it, but he's been part and parcel of the process all along. So we're moving forward on that. Of course, the big issue with any project is how do you get it paid, and what you do with it. So fundraising is going well. We're moving along well on it. I think conservatively, we've crossed through the $30,000 barrier in terms of the commitments as well as proceeds. A project like this is not a $30,000 project. It's more of a $50,000 project, and that's where it is. Now, we did plan this. It can be done in 2 phases, and it's very modular in that respect. We don't want to. It would be certainly more efficient to do it in one. And so we are going forward now with aggressive fundraising. We're trying for some leadership gifts to do the numbers. I mean, if you had $200 gifts, you'd need 250 people to give them. So you need some larger gifts, and so we're attempting to do that. The committee is myself, and Kathy Clevenger, and John Blankenship, and Kevin McLean, along with Matt Rapicelli. We're all in place on that, and we're continuing to, if you, again, I implore anyone, any member, whomever wants to, please speak to us. We can share it with you. Like I said, I don't think there's anything to hold us back, except for the money, and money's going to be a timing issue. No one has to pay anything between now and next April anyway. Commitments are fine at this point. We're happy to do that because we're not going to build until the weather breaks in the spring. If you saw all the concrete footers that have been designed into this thing, you don't want to pour those until the weather is right to do that. You can do it in the winter, but you really don't want to. So all those pieces are in place. Again, it's exciting. I think it's a real. I know Matt Rapicelli is very excited about it, as well as John Blankenship, in terms of what the flexibility. We can certainly that's over 1,500 square feet of additional space that we have there, and on top of just building it and doing it, and it's going to be composite material. It's not going to be stained wood. It's going to be the cable rails, so that people who will be sitting on the deck, if there's a concert or some other event, they'll be able to see through them and see through it properly. Matt is looking at making recommendations in terms of where he wants the door to open and for people to get in, making sure that we can, for maintaining, the service in the area, that we'll have a decent plan for that. It will attach to the old deck. The upper level will attach to the old deck, so we won't be losing any space or any functionality there at all. We'll try to match the colors as best we can, but of course you've got wood with stain as opposed to composite, but I think it's pretty cool to be able to do it. So that's where it is. We've had good volunteers. The design has all been done by volunteer, and then another member who is a project manager is also working with our designer in terms of making sure the whole program is in place. And so when we hit it next spring, we'll hit the ground running, and hopefully we'll have this whole piece put together for next year's summer. That's our target, that's our goal. Again, I think we're all in place, so all we need is money. And so, but we're doing well.
I couldn't tell from the drawing, but did we add any doors?
Yeah, there's going to be, we're talking about two different places. One possibility is to put it right next to where the fireplace is,
Okay.
would be right there. And depending upon what's in that wall, the other place would be to put it next to the bar. If we put it over by the bar, we probably lose more seating. But again, that's more of a detail that we get to in the final pieces of it. That's not structural or anything of that nature, because all those areas are pretty straightforward. So, and again, this deck is being made. It will be attached to the building, but it will structurally probably be stronger than the building, frankly, in terms of what we got in it. But it's a standalone piece of.
If it's all done at once, what's the time estimate for completion?
Oh, weather, we're talking probably a couple, 3 weeks or better.
Any other questions?
But again, springtime and weather but again,
What's the difference between phase 1 and phase 2 as far as what it would look like?
one, you just have the upper deck for phase 1 and you have the lower deck for phase 2.
Okay.
That's the way it's designed, it's modular in that respect.
Okay.
So you wouldn't have you've already got, if you build up on the upper deck, you already have steps coming down, so you're okay for fire and an emergency exit. If you build the second one down, that's where you get, as you see here, the two different sides, the two additional steps that would be down. That would be on phase 2. Each of them are fairly close in price in terms of materials.
It's a lot of holes.
Yeah, it's again, the original proposal when we talked with the engineer is he wanted us to be north. The Ohio Building Code says about 100 pounds per square foot. I think we're going to be north of 150, maybe as much as 160 with this design. So you shouldn't feel any rocking and rolling in it. So that's the plan. It hasn't all the pieces haven't been calculated out, but that seems to be about where the thumbnail is right now. And the engineer we're working with, structural engineer, is a gentleman from Lancaster named Wayne Custer. And again, he's prepared to review it, go through it all. And he's got those funny PE initials after his name that allows him to use the State of Ohio Professional Engineering stamp and put it on our plans.
Okay. All right, I put the 2018 amenity funds on the agenda. The amenity fund distribution meeting is the 5th of December. Just to recap, we get the amount collected at the 12 months ending October 31st. The key thing for the board members to know is that if you've got a committee that has not used all of its amenity funds, they need to do it with a receipt in by November 30th. Otherwise, we got to go in the meeting knowing how much we have, and if they haven't used the money, it goes back in the pot for next year. It always has been that way. The Long Range Planning Committee under Dan Donovan is working on the process. The process will be about the same, but one of the things they are trying to do is to come up with a form that will push committees to think longer term. Think at least 2 years or 3 years out, so we don't get surprises and have one thing conflicting with another, which we've had sometimes in the past. And the best example is Pool that came in with that plan, and they're funding it over a period of years, and they are going to start this fall, right? Yes, on that first phase of the pool, and it really won't be a pool plan. It's going to be a family community area when they're finished with it, and it'll tie to the deck. So it's a good concept. As far as the amount, your committee chairs ask, it should be about the same as the previous last year. Although last year the first 100,000 went to the silt removal, so it'll all be in there. I'm guessing about $125,000 to share among the committees, which is about what it was 2 years ago as well. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Linda Lundner. I know she's got something related to COVID.
What was the date that they had to have the receipts in?
November 30th.
November 30th.
It's got to be done, and we want a receipt.
Thank you.
Well, just so I can,
Linda, before I let you go again, just to reiterate, because it is so confusing, amenity funds are approved at the amenity meeting in December and then reaffirmed by the board. And after that, the committees use them as they say they're going to use them. The ones the treasurer talks about every month are the committee funds when they go out and do their own fundraising. Two different things. I'm sorry. Linda,
oh, no, that's quite all right. In regard to the lakes amenity funds, there is an outstanding, I guess, balance left of about $20,000. And that has been held in that account, the amenity fund account for lakes, for the past 4 years. And it's been targeted to help with the correction, the remediation of Lake Tomahawk. That has not occurred, so that funding has stayed. We are at the 4 years, so I would like to make a motion, and that is as follows. To allow the Lakes Committee to retain the $20,000 in the Lakes Amenity Fund for up to 5 years to assist in the funding of the Lake Tomahawk project, which will cost probably over $150,000 when it's said and done.
And Lakes has been building that up over the last 4 years, but the rules say after 4 years, you use it or lose it. But the board can adjust that if we so desire. So there's the motion. Can we have a second?
All set.
Seconded by Dave Miller. Any further discussion on it of any kind? Questions?
Are they gonna be planning on adding to it over the years?
We think so, yeah.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
I did.
Dave, oh. And
Linda made the motion, Dave seconded.
I hope you guys have noticed I didn't yet remember. Move up with Kate Matthews.
It's coming.
It's all, I got a long.
You should never
yeah, I probably shouldn't have. Okay, no other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion is passed. So that'll just be held for 5 years. And the reason we're taking 5 years is by then we hope management, Chaz, we hope management can come through somehow.
More to follow.
We're counting on you, buddy.
Linda, do you have that written out so I can?
I do.
Can I keep it if you're not going to?
That is excellent. That's part of the secretary.
You're gonna get the MVP of the meeting.
Yes. Okay, with that, we'll go around the room and I'll start with Jim Lloyd, just to surprise him.
Oh my God. I do have one too.
Oh, okay.
It's barn committee. And it's for a giant dragon with wings. So I'm assuming that's for the boo at the barn. Paid to Gracie Adams, $159.06. And I can't make the motion, so somebody has to make the motion.
I'll make the motion.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor to pay Gracie Adams of the Barn Committee $159.06 from Barn Committee funds. Can we have a second?
Second.
Second by Fritz, excuse me, by Dwayne.
Wait, Matthews.
You got it. And don't get me started. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
It is passed. You all set, Jim? Got any more?
No, that's it.
Dwayne?
Oh, hey, one thing I do want to add, at the airport committee, and Todd's here, they set out a space down clear on the far end of the airport, and you'll find remote control airplanes and helicopters flying out of there. And they'd like anybody that gets a chance to go down and take a look at them. I was down there the other day watching them fly. It was all approved and everything's fine. And they mowed out what is about a 50 by 200 feet strip. So we've got a little more people than we realize that you're playing with remote control airplanes and helicopters.
Todd, would you email Ginger Reed just a short item about that? Never get in the echo.
They're gonna put an e-blast out on it also, and the next time they go fly. Pretty well over with now, but you know.
We did have two airplanes in this weekend.
Real ones.
Wow, really?
Really?
3 months.
When they're running out. We may have to.
Ask for
Randy
funds
put that
to
wind- Randy
get a
put that
control
windsock
tower that
up
keeps
and
up
made
with
it-
How does that work?
Little
Plane coming in.
But
How does it work when a plane's coming in?
they get off the airfield. They're cognizant of the fact that this is not ruled by the FC or FAA quite like a regular airport. This is a private airport, so they're not quite as strict on the planes that stop if I'm telling you.
No, you're right.
wrong. So.
Well,
you can
planes
do
coming
kind of
in, do
things
they
like-
normally circle once or something? So
Well, yeah, they call it the control tower that
Yeah,
we
right.
want you guys to put. Now, you'll see them flying.
More to follow.
And they'll watch. The pilots will watch, and if there's people on there, they'll buzz the field and they'll get off. But these guys are very cognizant of the fact that there could possibly be an airplane coming in.
And they're aware of the rules regarding drones in Iowa Hills, I'm assuming.
Well, I haven't seen any drones there, but even so, yeah. You won't have any problem from these guys flying drones up and looking in your window, I'll guarantee you that.
That's good.
Especially from down there, because they can't see where they go.
The one guy I talked to said, yeah, they're going over there to do that because they're not doing it anymore.
Yeah. Who that, Brett?
I can't remember. I just friended him on Facebook.
Probably. Anyway, if you get a chance, if you hear them, and they're gonna put something on next time they go out flying, they said they put something, I don't know, E-plan. It's really kind of interesting to watch them. I watched one crash.
Okay,
Very encouraging.
Mr. Mickey.
I have a disbursement for Mike Laird for $96.75 for trophies for our trap shoot that we had the 9th,
All right, so
30.
you want to pay $96.75 to Mike Laird out of Range Committee funds
Yes,
for trophies for the trap shoot.
yes.
Any second?
Second.
Dave Miller's the second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
It is passed.
And I have a deposit to make for the trap shoot. We had 17 shooters come out that day. Great, nice day. We had a cookout and a 50-50. We brought in $695. The 50-50 was $158. Mike Laird donated his half back into the fund.
Okay.
So, give that to you at the end?
Yeah. Do you have the other comment about the range?
Oh, about the disbursement?
Want me to explain that, or you want to handle
I'll give it my best.
it? Go to it.
We had a situation where we had money in the amenities account for shooting supplies. Receipts got turned in and it came out of our range account instead of out of our amenities. It took a little while to find out what really happened and all of that. We thought that we had some money left in the amenities account, so we bought some things for that trap shoot. It's gonna put us over that amenities account about $200. I didn't write this stuff down, I was on the card.
Okay.
It's about 200, I think he said $230 that we went over on that amenity.
All right, but really the funds, you're really not over on the amendment, I think. Yeah, it will be over because you
once
thought you had the
this
money.
gets
I
cut
see.
back, yeah, once it gets flip-flopped.
All right, but first of all, the way to solve that, again, board reps, tell your committees when they're turning in amenity money to put the project number on it. That's one of the things. And it should say amenity fund project 10 or amenity fund project 8, and then Brenda knows exactly how to charge it. This wouldn't happen. All right, so
Crash course on learning that, I got that.
you got it now. Okay. Now, will you do me a favor, when you get the specific amount, would you just send me an email? I'll throw an e-blast out, and in effect, we'll cover that probably from overruns. We always, the amenity fund has an overrun amount. Usually it's $1,500 a year, and I know we've got actually more than that in it right now. So send me an email. You guys all know about what happened, and that's why we're going to approve it. Okay, any questions? All right. Anything else, Wayne?
We have a meeting Thursday. We're talking about having a poker shoot next month.
Okay.
Once that gets all put together, we'll.
Poker shoot.
How would that work?
You open the door.
You got your shooting block, you put cards up on the thing backwards, so you can't see what they are. You shoot all the cards at your hand.
All right.
This one-year-old playing with 4 cards.
How to shoot, okay, good.
Be
That sounds like
$5 a hand and do it a 50-50 or.
At what range? How far?
It'll be close. It'll be pistol stuff.
Good. I might go for that. All right.
Hey, can I bring my 22-250 with a scope?
Yeah, we'll put you out in the airfield. You annihilate a card with it.
Anything else, Wayne?
No, that doesn't.
Fritz?
Yeah, the Garden Club had their first annual barbecue on October 7th. They raised $350 and they're gonna use that to correct the front gate and then install a back gate. So people at that end of the garden can get to the woods edge to get rid of the refuse a little bit easier. And they are also, I don't need to reimburse anybody, but they are having a work day this Saturday at 10 a.m. We've had some frost, they're gonna start doing some cleanup on the gardens. And then I'm happy to announce that there's a chair for the adopting area. So we'll get in contact with Roy and have something to report next month.
Okay, very good. By the way, when he said the refuse to garden, it's plant material that they put in the woods.
Yeah, not trash.
All right.
Organic.
Compost, exactly. One of the gardeners got a compost bin.
Nutrients.
Linda?
Just an update, Chaz, I'll go ahead and mention it, but the dice run for the ORV committee is this Saturday from 2 to 6. I think the cards will be picked up at the clubhouse, is that
Yep.
right, Chaz?
Yep.
And it's $10 a card, you can buy as many cards, I guess, as you want,
Yes, ma'am.
the more the merrier. And there will be 5 stops, is that right?
5 stops, yep.
And our house will be 1 stop, so there will be food, beverages, adult and otherwise. Anyway,
Always interesting.
Halloween.
it's October.
What time do we get done with the lake, taking the boats?
Oh, Sue, a few hours. Hey, Sue, what time do we get done with the boats on Saturday?
I'm hoping by noon. We've got pizza coming at 1. We've got
Okay.
84 boats
All right,
full,
so we ought to be able to make
full
it.
list.
Run. If we can get done by 1.
That's right, you just walk over and get your cards.
There you go.
You know that the party continues.
And I might add, the Cross household will be another stop.
You don't have to start right at 2 o'clock either, do you? You can start like
Yeah.
3.
It doesn't matter.
I do have 2 disbursements. They're each for the Lakes Committee. Both of them are to be paid to Susan Pyle. One, a disbursement is for stocking the lakes with fish. I'm sorry, this one should be made out to Marlowe's Fish Hatchery, not Susan, for a total of $1,381.25. So again, $1,381.25 to Marlowe's Fish Hatchery.
All right, we'll do them separately. The motion on the floor is to pay Marlowe's Fish Hatchery $1,381.25 from Lake Committee funds for fish stocking. Any second? Second by Fritz. Any questions? You're not gonna tell us what lake it's in a minute.
Well, that's what I was going to
Well, I think they're all going in Lake Arrowhead, right?
Whoa.
Oh, guys, come on. No, I am teasing.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I can actually tell you if you want to know.
I would like to know.
Yeah, I got the list.
We're gonna put 300 walleye in Lake Four Seasons. A couple aimers are gonna go down by maintenance in Deerfoot because of the weed growth down there. Black crappie, 300 of those. We're gonna split those up between the small lakes. and some largemouth bass. I'm not sure where Greg Weber's in charge of this. He's gonna put those somewhere. He didn't note where. And he's gonna split up some channel catfish amongst the 3 small lakes.
How big are the walleye, you know?
Usually when they put them in, they're like, they're pretty good sized.
Is there any going in, walleye's gone into Eagle Claw before, hasn't it?
I think so, but normally he's just been putting them in Lake Four Seasons, because I don't know.
The fishing's horrible, Lake Eagle Claw, nobody needs to go.
Oh.
That's why Tom keeps posting all the walleyes.
That's why you're out.
All right, you got another one, Linda?
I do. This is for another disbursement of committee funds. This does go to the chairwoman, Susan Pyle. It's for purchase of a blue strobe light for the security boat. And that amount, including tax, is $215.88. A second check payable to Roger Swan for installation parts and materials for $24.88.
Okay, got a motion on the floor to pay Sue Pyle $215.88 for a blue strobe light for the security boat, and to pay Roger Swan $24.88 to install that light, for the parts in that, to install on the security boat. Can I have a second?
Second.
Dwayne, this is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
It is passed. Okay. You have anything?
I do.
Oh.
I do. This is for the Food Fun and Fellowship, and it's a request to reimburse Kathy Clevenger $400 because we had a musician at the clubhouse on September 29. Mark Pennington and Kathy paid him, so I would make the motion that we reimburse Kathy $400 for that.
Second.
All right, motion made by Jim, seconded by Linda for $400 from Food Fun and Fellowship funds to pay Kathy Clevenger the $400 for music that was at the clubhouse on what day?
September 29th.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It is passed. That's it. Anything else, Jim?
That's it for me.
Eric?
Yeah, I got some.
Okay. You guys talk faster than we can write. And if I don't read it back correctly, I get in trouble.
One thing I got is new member committee. They're having the 2017 poinsettia sale. Taking orders right now. Orders in the Echo. The order forms in the Echo. $10 for a small, $20 for a large. You'll be able to pick up on the lodge on November 24th. They're going to actually pick up a few extras as well for sale up here at the lodge. So I want to point that out. I think this is a good time. I wanted to bring up in the discussion, one of the things that we came across is the way to pay for this is kind of old-fashioned in the sense that if you want to order a poinsettia, you need to write out a check, fill out a form, and mail it in. And it kind of got into the discussion of, well, why don't we have an easier way to do that? Why don't we have for example, a PayPal account that maybe it's a Hideaway Hills PayPal account. It could be used for all committees. It could be done through our website, and it'd be a way to, in this situation with the poinsettia sale, you go to the website, click I want a small poinsettia, pay for it with your PayPal account, and you're done. And I don't know what problems we would have with doing that, but I can certainly take the lead and try to put something like that together if nobody had any issues.
You've had that with your business?
We had a PayPal account. We actually sold some supplies, and we just put the different supplies up on our website. People will click on it, they pay for it. The money would get deposited right to our account, and we get an email letting us know where all the details about what the details of the sale is, and then we ship it out.
If you had two committees at the same time, how would you know?
Well, they'd be different products. right? So one would be a point set of sale, the next one would be, you can even do like a 50-50 raffle for something and do it that way and say, pay for it that way. And it would come in that product was that 50-50 raffle for ABC committee. So.
Well, you can also do fundraising.
You could, there's a lot of options there. Now
If you wanted to ask for money on PayPal for a fundraising, then you can do the same thing.
Yes. So one of the things that I guess we need to consider, though, if we were to go forward with that, is there are obviously fees. I believe it's right around, I haven't, it's been a while since I've dug into it, but I believe it was like 50 cents and then a 3% of the fee. And I would assume that we would have the committees cover that fee. Right, because you're not getting, because if you put something out there for $10, you're billed $10. You don't charge the customer $10 plus the fees. So the committees would have to eat that, but it might be worth the convenience of having all that automated. So.
Well, obviously, there's some administrative work to be done with that too. So we'd have to sit down and work through that, but I think it's a great idea. I mean,
Yeah, I actually looked it up after, because Eric had forwarded it to me. It's fairly straightforward in terms of setting it up. One thing, obviously PayPal's in the business of trying to do business this way. So it doesn't cost a whole lot to just register your site. But again, the issue is making sure what you have on there and who's going to be the custodian of that. And that's, to me, seems to be the only real drawback. And making sure that all reconciles, we'd have to make sure, we have to ask our accountants just to make sure that we're covered on that. But there's a whole lot there that's difficult. And PayPal, of course, has got an encrypted site, so if you're on it and you're going to be putting your credit card on it, then it's on them to make sure that it's not corrupted.
Eric, is this something that's just in the beginning stages, or are you trying to roll this out in enough time to do the poinsettias with it?
I'm really not trying to point set to say, I mean, we've got time, but it's something that hit me like, we need an easier way.
Yeah.
To
that clearly
raise
gets
funds.
us into the 90s.
Jumped all the way
So if it seems like we've got interest, and again, I'm happy to champion or let somebody else champion it, but what would our next steps be? Is that a discussion? Is that me? I would imagine Melissa would need to be involved.
Yeah, I don't think putting the link on the website would be too much of a problem. But I think the details, more on the administrative side, the management committee. To make sure.
If we could take that discussion offline,
sure.
We'd be more than happy to sit down and discuss it.
Okay.
You might want to talk to Burnside. He was looking into fundraising sites as well. Free fundraising as well as fee fundraising, where you had to pay the 50 cents and the $3 or whatever it was. So it could all roll into one.
My suggestion would be that we roll it all into one, to try to keep our arms around it, because it's certainly something we haven't done before.
More administrators, more checks and balances that way as well.
Yeah. We'll promptly turn this over to Jim Sigfus.
I was thinking Paul Heimer. Since he's not here today.
Any else?
That's all I got for now.
Tom?
I've got nothing.
Howard?
I have no reports and no funds requested.
All right.
We're not going to slide by Dave, though.
All right, first thing, I want to get the date approved, December 9th, for the Christmas tour of homes. Kicks off at, the ticket sales start at 10, and I think it goes on until 4 p.m. afternoon. And then...
Well, we just do that as one motion.
Yes.
Want to get a second on it now?
Sure.
A second.
All right, motion by Dave, seconded by Jim Krieger, to approve the Christmas tour of homes sponsored by the Social Committee on December 9th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's passed. Go.
All right. Now, do you want the whole concert series for next year, or would you just like a couple of them? I mean, there's probably 5 or 6 here.
I need a list.
I got it. I wrote it down. All right.
What if why don't you say?
All I want is to approve the dates.
Thank you.
That's it. May 26th for the first concert, June 9th for the Shelter House auction, June 30th at the amphitheater, July 28th at the amphitheater. I'm sorry, the first one was at the amphitheater. September 1st at the amphitheater, and then December 8th, Christmas tour of homes. And I will give you all this.
Okay, so Dave is asking to approve the following dates for concerts, May 26th, June 30th, July.
June 9th for Shelter House auction.
I'm going concerts first.
Okay.
My mind is feeble and
Sorry.
simple, okay. For the concerts, May 26th, June 30th, July 28th, September 1st, and September 1st for the concerts. There were 4 concerts. And then also approving the Shelter House for June 9th for the auction and the tour of homes on December 8th. Can we have a second?
Second.
By Eric Miller. Eric. I'm gonna start putting a quarter in the pot.
Ain't as easy as you thought, is it?
Well, but I have been here 18 years. Somebody.
Well, you're doing better than I did. I couldn't remember their first name or their second name.
All right, we got a motion and a second on the floor. Any questions, comments, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, it is approved. Thank you, Social, for giving us your dates.
And you know what? I'm looking because it seems like I might have, okay, June 30th was the Dam Jam.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you,
Hopefully that's gonna be at the dam.
Yeah, well, we didn't say,
Yeah.
I just said
Okay,
concerts.
all right.
are you gonna share who the,
I certainly, I
Performers
can,
on.
yeah. May 26th, Phil Dirt. And then on June 30th is Simba Jordan, that was on Bucky's deck, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, no, Soul Kitchen. And July 28th is Soul Kitchen. September 1st is Pop Gun.
Has Bucky offered the deck again for another?
I don't know, somebody ought to
Somebody
talk to
working
him
on
about
that at
that.
all? That was pretty spectacular. I
No,
thought.
he has not. He's kind of done.
I say we just set up.
We'll find out what weekend he's gone.
Why don't we just get a barge and put it in front of his house?
All right.
We'll figure out what his schedule down south is. Take a weekend.
All right,
So
any
that's all I've
other,
got.
thank you, sir. Any other committee business? All right, with that, Jim, if you can bring me the list, we'll go into open forum.
You don't need to pay attention to the amounts of the bands, so we'll get that approved later.
Okay. The only person who wants to speak is Mr. Kale. You're on, Todd.
Hey,
No.
Todd
Oh,
Kale,
yes.
975.
Go, Todd.
Okay.
Go, Todd.
This is just an observation, it's not a complaint, but the shed behind the guard shack has a lot of issues. And my biggest concern is the windows on the backside of the guard shack are gone. So the guards can't look out and see the dam, see the parking lot. Most importantly, they can't see the basketball court and the playground. So I know that's not something they regularly do, but they scan that all the time, I'm sure, as they're walking around. Those windows are gone, and they can't see through that building. They have to go out and around it to see that area. So, you know, to me, that's a problem. The other thing is that it's ugly. And I know it's supposedly a temporary thing, but if we do finish the structure or redo the guard shack or whatever, or do a permanent addition to that, I'd love to see a view out the back of that the guards can actually see what's going on over there without having to go out and patrol. And the other thing is, it's front and center. It's right in front of everybody, and it's ugly. And if a member brought that project before ACC, it wouldn't pass. The roof materials are different, the siding's different. You know, the guard shack has vertical or horizontal clapboard on it, and that building is T111, which is, you know, straight up and down. So that's just an observation, not a complaint, just an observation.
Okay, good observation. I definitely agree with you about the windows though. I would say we're not gonna keep it, get it out of there as soon as we can after Christmas.
Yeah, we've got.
I understand the need for it. You know, the guard shack gets crammed in there. But the guards are still gonna have to go in that, if they bring packages in the backup, the guards are still gonna have to go in there and check the packages in and write them down so they call the member. You know, so it's.
Well, what's some points we'll take? Jazz, you wanna say anything?
Yeah, a couple things here. One is the time between when we all considered this to be a viable problem and the time we needed something to address said problem, very short window. And so we kind of rallied around and looked at some different options. One was to try to keep the cost down, obviously. The more options you add, the more cost you have. Although I can assure you that we have a list of people lining up for that have reasons why we have to keep it when we're done. It's a temporary structure, and our intent is to, when we first set out, was to A, address the problem, and B, make it a temporary situation while we plan for something bigger and better come spring. Your no view out the backside is viable. I mean, there is no view. Our thought process there is that with the advent of colder weather and things like that, the activity that goes on over there is going to be less than it would be during the summertime. And by summertime, it's our intent to get it out of there and award it to one of the 15 people that are making reasons for us to keep it. You know, that being said, this is all temporary, and as we look towards what we want as far as a permanent solution is concerned, we've already roughed in the plumbing when we did the septic system, the new leach bed and everything, so that we can build something behind where the current guard shack is, so it can be constructed, and then we take the old guard shack out of play. And certainly windows out of the backside will be a strong consideration just for the view. And the other intent is to be able to get the guards their own restrooms right there in the same building, so that they don't have to leave the gate or worry about that. And as far as the aesthetics are concerned, I think it probably looks better than all the packages that we know are going to be. I mean, people are ordering hot tubs and car tires, and so we had a very short period of time to address the problem. So hopefully we'll never have to do it again. So if we do, we'll be better at it.
Fun to help.
Do we have a projected timeline to replace the guard shack?
We haven't plugged in dates yet. We're still in the what do we need and what do we want stage. We've tasked Randy with starting to look at what type of prefab type stuff we can get. What are we looking at building materials wise, and that'll all be part of the budget going in 2018.
And Randall's putting together a design as far as how they'd like it inside, how it's for maneuverability issues. So
there'll be some spiral staircases and a lounge.
But with windows.
A wet bar.
I would suggest you put it through ACC.
And we'll put it through all the proper channels. One thing's for sure, guys.
We'd have given you a waiver at ACC because of the situation on this one, I'm sure.
Understood. And one thing's for sure, this particular end of the business has been neglected for quite some time, and it's time to make a move and make it nicer, and we intend to do that. It's that simple.
One other thing at least the plan, as I heard it, is that when they get the packages, they'll have the room to alphabetize them. So when you come to pick up your package, especially when they're busy, they're not trying to figure it out among the 300 packages.
Well, and there was some other thought put into it. I mean, if you'll notice the double doors on one end, so the UPS or the FedEx truck can back up to it. Again, Bridget and Stan Durham, we talked to them about it. I mean, it was, I think, a month and a half ago that it was brought up, and we said, oh, you know what, you're right. We need to address it. We need to address it quick. So we did, and we did take some things into consideration, but there wasn't much time to really customize something.
Stan does logistics for a living and
I've just,
helping the guards figure out how to handle all those packages. Well put, Tom.
Yeah.
Okay. Joe, I'm sorry I missed you the first time.
no problem.
You used a different color ink.
Black. Have anybody in here have questions for me about the situation that we've had on Article 9? Did you get the measurements?
I did not.
Okay,
I didn't.
okay. What I was trying to do is, I hope my wife and I have been very well-mannered and good behavior for what we've been going through with this. It's roughly about 9 feet, would you say, Chaz, slide, ballpark? Give or take a few inches.
I guess.
Yeah, but we wanted to make sure that we did the right thing for you guys. If there are any questions that anybody has about this procedure we've been going through, because I don't know what else to, do. I don't think it's wise to reward bad behavior. And my wife and I have always just tried to be very respectful of Hideaway and try to do the right thing for everybody here. And I think the letters that we've had from y'all, I really respect them because everybody's been very fair with us. And I just want to see if there are any questions that I could address for anybody.
The only one is that if you're allowing Randy to come on your property
he
to get
knows
the
that.
measurements.
He knows that.
Yeah, just get the right stuff.
Randy could do whatever he wants.
I wouldn't care.
You've always been very respectful for me, and I hope my wife and I have been very respectful of you. And so,
Yes, sir.
you always, are very well, allowed.
Thank you.
So, I know it's only, any questions, any other questions? Okay. All right. But please, if y'all have any questions, just let me know and help out. All right, thank you for your help.
Yes, Joe. So can you get over there and get that?
Yep.
Next week? Tomorrow. Just get it tomorrow. Just get it going. Anybody else want to chime in while we have time? Okay. All right, we'll go back into the regular session. And under unfinished business, I think last month there was a discussion of staff training. It wasn't here last month, or it has been coming up before. And the two areas, one was conflict management for the security personnel, and the other is training for our lodge service. So, Randy?
Well, I unfortunately, I missed that. And I have reached out to Cheryl Burnside to see if she would be interested in taking that on. I think somebody had already talked to her about it, but I hadn't had a chance to, so I emailed her today. I didn't hear anything back from her. I'd already talked to security about it a little bit, so I will get on that as soon as I hear back from her.
Okay.
We'll get something scheduled for that. And I think Linda, she had mentioned something about it too, that thought it was a really good idea. So unfortunately, I don't know why that went by me, but it did. And so I've already reached out to Cheryl, like I say, to hear what she has to say. What she can do something for us.
Are you talking about just how to handle an irate member? Is that what you're talking about?
Conflict management.
Yeah.
Exactly.
De-escalation.
Have you ever thought about the Pickaway County Sheriff that is a member here? I mean, he would be one that, because I was gonna bring that up to you and just never got around to it. He would be one that could, he deals with it on a day-to-day basis.
Possibility.
I'd call them because they may have somebody who, I don't know if he would put it on though.
Well,
Maybe he could.
but at least he'd get you started in the right direction, what better?
Possibility.
I don't know that this really requires any type of formal, conflict management is conflict management, I don't know if it takes any kind of specialized coaching. I don't know that it shouldn't require that.
Well, it's more how to control your temper when you got, I heard a phrase a long time ago that I've never forgotten. One person mad, you got no problems. Two people mad, you got a real problem. And if you've got a member mad, how to handle that takes a little bit more than just, you got to have a sense of how do you handle that.
Sure. My point is conflict's conflict, again, I think Cheryl, and I don't know, I'm not intimate with what Cheryl does, but I think that's more along the lines of a loss prevention type situation, which I think would probably be closer to what we're looking at here. But again, I mean, you know, conflict management could be boardroom conflict, you know, it could be anything.
But
So-
the idea, Chaz, is that we're really just trying to give our security personnel some training so they can fall back on, how do I handle this? What am I supposed to
Sure.
do? And
Yeah.
we're looking for something by a pro who's laid it out, here are the steps. So,
Sure.
That's why I'm thinking somebody from,
Good business, good.
touch out with the Peckaway County Sheriff, who is a member, and see if he can give you some advice on who
Well,
to
we've
get.
got other police.
You've got other police officers too.
Including highway patrolmen,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
But the former safety director of the city of Columbus too.
Oh.
All right, well, just give us an update. now.
Yep, I will do that.
All right, we now are going to reaffirm the e-votes. And unlike Mr. Krieger, I don't have a lot.
Who got dumped on?
Okay.
Two different boards.
The first three were all approved 8-0. 921, we e-voted to approve the treasurer's report from the 919 board meeting because it didn't get voted on. 928, there was an e-vote to approve $504.32 from the chapel committee funds payable to Vincent Promotions for seat cushion sales. And on the 29th of September, an e-vote to approve the Organic Garden Committee barbecue fundraiser on Saturday, 10/7/17 at the golf course shelter beginning at 3 p.m. for the OSU game. All those were approved 8-0. Can I have a motion to reaffirm those?
So moved.
Motion by Jim Krieger, second by Valerie Barker. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? They are reaffirmed. The last one was approved 7-0, and I'll say this, and not to single you out, I didn't get a vote from you, Fritz. So as we reaffirm those, anybody can change their vote or add a vote if you didn't. That's one of the reasons we have to do these in public because they're formal motions. So on the 6th of November, we e-voted to approve paying $339.29 to John Jones from Golf Committee funds for the night golf supplies. That was approved 7-0. Can I have a motion to reaffirm them?
I modify that to say October 6th.
I'm sorry, you're correct, October 6th, thank you. Sorry about that. Dwayne moved it, second. Valerie, any discussion? No discussion? All right, no problem. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? They are reaffirmed. Okay, now, new business. Signage in Area 54 for speed and trails. We had a lady, I'm surprised she didn't send it as a letter to the editor, but a lady was up there and somebody in a 4-seat side-by-side ran her off the walking trail when she was walking her dog. And she claims going fast, and then she was disturbed about the presence of motorized vehicles in the walking trail. Well, the side-by-side shouldn't have been on the walking trail anyway, and checking it out, we asked Randy, and
Well, I had both maintenance and security see if they could find the sign that used to be there, but we did have a sign there that said no motorized vehicles, walking trail only. They haven't been able to find that sign, so will we make another one up? And also, we talked about putting a 15-mile-an-hour sign underneath the flip sign up there, so I'll get that made up too.
okay.
Paul Bauer does our signs.
Does it make sense to tell them where the riding trail is?
That would be smart.
Or is it kind of obvious if they're not
I
moving?
think it's the walkers, they're a wild bunch.
Okay.
Well, we could probably talk about that in management.
Okay, I'm not saying do it, I'm just wondering
Yeah.
if maybe the people don't know where to ride.
Right, right.
Can you take a golf cart to the Frisbee golf area? I mean, is that?
Yeah, you cut across the
Yeah.
walking trail, but I
Cut
think
across
that's.
the walking trail, but yeah,
But
you
you
could probably
could.
do that.
Well, I guess I was looking to see if that was acceptable. I thought it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as the sign is up where it's not too wet for vehicles.
Can't ride it on the cold.
Yes.
You gotta carry your frisbee.
You couldn't get it past all.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, so we'll just, just next month, tell us if we got it done.
Right.
All right, model ethics code for board members. This is suggested by Mrs. Parker.
Oh, I'll try to make this really quick. This goes back to, it was brought up in 2015 to try to put something together, but it just got back burner because we had too much else to deal with. So what I've done recently is I reached out to Rick Levinsky, and really what I sent him was kind of a compilation of what I'd come up with. And that's what I sent you today, and you might not have had time to read it. Greg sent out the one that Rick Levinsky sent to me. And I said, well, here's kind of what Rick is recommending. And that was the one for the Code of Ethics for Community Association board members. And this was put out by the Community Associations Institute. And so he highly recommended that we take a look at this as part of putting something together. In the meantime, in the past, I had looked at two others represented by two different law firms, property management companies. And I kind of took from both of those, and that is what I sent you today. So what I kind of would maybe recommend is maybe a couple of us can get together and talk about this, and then we present something to the board. What do you think about that?
All right, I'd ask you to get it out to them, a couple days before the next board meeting, so they've read it before.
Well, I was wondering if someone would want to work with me.
Oh, that's fine.
On this. And again, we've got plenty of time. It wouldn't take long because I've already done a lot of background research.
All right, we need a volunteer. Come on, somebody.
I volunteer.
Oh,
Thank you,
Linda. Okay. But with this, I think it's a solid
I didn't have a
background.
chance to read. I've got to ask you guys to consider a couple things. And first of all, the no gifts of
Mine is
$50.
different.
Yeah, you said $50. But for example, I say from any member. That would mean my wife can't give me a Christmas gift worth more than $50, the way it's written. So just get your lawyer, Linda, out
Your Christmas card.
You might like it, yeah, right. But I mean, you could have one member knows, there may be a board member who's got a good friend out here who would want to give them a gift of $50 or $75, a bottle of scotch. I mean, so I don't know how you're going to handle that one. I mentioned this much.
Okay,
In number 5, add the word employee. You're saying about personal attacks or verbal. Just add employee.
And which number is this?
Number 5. Just add the word employee.
On
Number 5, professional conduct. Just saying you're not going to any verbal attacks or abuse to a whole list of people. I'm looking at yours.
You're looking at mine. Okay.
Yeah, I thought that's the one you wanted us to consider.
Well, I mean, both have good.
Are you guys?
They're gonna take it out.
All right, let's take it out.
Number 5. Okay.
Yeah.
What do we?
I didn't read it closely.
All right.
What?
Have some comments.
Just to add employee, that's all. I got one more, I'll just get this when you're here. Number 13, it says no board member will interfere with the duties of the general manager, contractor, or employee of Hideaway Hills. You have board members that interfere with the duties of the general manager if there is an issue.
We'd like to discuss that too.
Yeah, I mean, at times, I'm just asking you to consider those when you two meet.
Yeah. Again, I don't think we should interfere. I mean, I think that's.
I mean, let's take it off. Editing with 15 people.
Okay, right.
We'll be here till 2 a.m.
Nobody's had time. Okay, so that's all I have.
Okay, yeah. Do we have any new members? Mr. Lyle?
We do. We have some new members. I'll just read these off here. Holcomb Properties LLC, Brandon and Michelle Chase, lot 705 and 706. Keith and Terry Stippert, lot 72 and 172. Mark and Holly Heiser, lots 945 and 946. Matthew and Melissa Woodrum, lots 668, 669, and 670. Thomas and Karen Peterson, lot 37.
Okay.
That's it.
You making a motion to approve those new members?
That is exactly what I was doing.
Got a second?
Second.
Linda Lonsinger, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Members are approved. Is there any other additional business to come before the board? Hearing none, I'll hear a motion to adjourn. Okay.
State the time.
Second.
At 8:25, we will adjourn. Thank you. Second by Blaine. All in
Who's the
favor?
first? Who's the first?
Valerie. You work. Any opposed? Okay, we're adjourned. You can get the door, we can go into the executive session. Anybody need a quick break?
I just need to go my.
You may.
Oh,
Yeah, mine the laptop too.
imagine it easy. It's not working.
I mean, he's the rules, whatever. I'm sure, yeah, I'm sure you guys.
Larry.
Try to slow down.
Looks like they're pretty much, yeah.
Oh.
Twenty-eight.